Welcome back to the Paper Movies, a Novelization Book Club podcast. Today, again, it's only going to be two of us hosts. Jeremy took this month off. So today it's just going to be me, Adam, and Matthew, and we'll be
Hi.
discussing. Oh, hi. And today we'll be discussing the novelization to Man of Steel. Man of Steel, the novelization was by Greg Cox, and it was based on the story by David S. Goyer and Christopher Nolan, and the screenplay by David S. Goyer, and it was based upon the Superman characters created by Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster. So as always, before we start off with our thoughts, we give a brief summary. It's basically your traditional Superman origin with a few changes here and there, but it starts off in Krypton. It's Jor-El, Superman's father, is realizing the planet is doomed. It's about to explode. And so he kind of does something that goes against their culture's system of doing things. Like they had a natural child that was Kal-El. And normally their system of doing things is like they have their children created, pre-programmed with a destined future. But they wanted to add a little bit of freedom to that. So they had their first natural birth. And then so they, as the planet is dying, Jor-El steals what they call the Codex, which is, it's kind of confusing to say they steal the Codex, which is like all of like Kryptonians' like legacy is stored within Kal-El, and he ships them off to Earth as Krypton is being destroyed. And General Zod, which is Jor-El's an old friend of his, they get tried for treason, as they try to take over the Council of Krypton and everything. And they are sentenced to the Phantom Zone, but Krypton's destruction releases them from the Phantom Zone. And eventually they find the whereabouts of Superman, and they, basically take the planet hostage and threaten it unless Superman surrenders himself.
Yeah, it's a good, it's a Superman story, some kid grows up thinking he's human with some special abilities that he's always told to keep to himself. We don't want to draw too much attention to it, because he'd be labeled a freak or, taken away by the U.S. government because he fell from space. It's an interesting start to the book. I really enjoyed the Krypton history with Jor-El and his mother. When they gave birth to their child, Kal-El, against, you said, their culture, and General Zod, who's like the warrior, right? The main warlord of the Kryptonians, and he disagrees with the government on some things, and their world, Krypton, is falling apart, and he kind of contributes to that by attacking everybody. Right? He tries to do this insurrection of the government, and the world's kind of crumbling around. So, he's adding to the devastation. And you got Jor-El and his wife, which I can't remember her name. It makes me feel like a bad person for not Laura. Yeah, Laura. And they give birth the natural way. The whole thing with Jor-El getting that codex and breaking it down and putting it into his son's DNA was really interesting. To me, that was probably the most interesting stuff in the book, in my opinion. It would have been really cool to get a full story of the Krypton people living. It's like everybody was bred for their specific purposes, their own jobs, and chaos happens here at the end, which I'm sure there was other things going on beforehand to build up to that, which would have been really cool. In another story to read about. And I'm not a huge DC fan, so I don't know if there is that kind of material out there. But for what we got in Man of Steel, I did not see this movie, so I can't compare much to the film. But so I'm getting a different perspective on, just the story, which is still a lot of fun to do that. Sometimes the books are always better than the movie. but you don't really know until you see the movie. So, um, yeah, I thought the best part for me was the beginning.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of the Codex stuff in like the previous Superman stories, at least not to my knowledge. I haven't read a lot of Superman comics. I've read a few, but the Codex thing was a little bit new to me too. But I did like, and I took a note of this. I did like that they did reference some things that were from the Superman story. Like they mentioned, like especially throughout the parts of Krypton, they mention Rao, like Rao. Rao is like the Kryptonian deity. I thought that that was pretty cool because I've heard Superman in the like in like video games or in the comics, you know,
Mhm.
reference. So I thought that that was kind of a I thought that was cool, and I'm like because that wasn't I don't remember that mentioned in the film at all, and so I like that Greg Cox like added that in there. Um, but this was like I did like that this was more of a it was more of like a self-awareness type story. Do you get where I'm
Mhm.
like
Oh yeah.
in the original like the 1978 Superman film with Christopher Reeve, like the first like when Clark's on Earth, like I mean he goes in that journey to find, you know, his lineage, and you know when he finds it like he immediately knows who he is. But like this was more of a like and we see that with Clark, you know, traveling the world. He gets like odd jobs here and there, like he works on a boat, he gets a job at a bar, you know, he's just trying to like find his place in this world. And you
Yeah.
know I did like that we got more of like more of a process behind that. It was like because you know a being as powerful as Superman, you know, it's just like, you know, some people would you know, would take advantage of that. And, you know, like what Zod did and try to rule the world. You know,
Right.
spoilers, by the way. You know, as always, spoilers. Um, like try to destroy the world. But you know, Superman instead goes on like this big journey. You know, of you know trying to find who he is and find his place in this world. And you know, he's helping people along the way. Like he always wants to help people, but
Mhm.
you know, it's um you know he wants to help, but at the same time he can't draw too much attention to himself, you know.
Right. And like that's part of his like real challenge as he's growing up. He's picked on at school by a bunch of people like all the time. Like he's just that kid that's bullied and he can't fight back because he just beat the crap out of these people, you
I mean,
know?
he'd probably he'd probably instantly
Kill
kill
them.
them. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's
And oh, go
go
ahead.
ahead. It's just like there's so many cool things that happened in his youth. Some of it I found a little bit silly, but you know, I'm not blaming the author for that at all. It's the screenplay. You know, with a bus situation where the school bus goes like
Yeah.
into a lake or a river, goes off
Yeah.
the bridge or something, and he has to like push it back up and saves a bunch of kids. It's like I figured that would have brought a lot of attention into that city, you know. But it kind of was like swept under the rug. And then, but
Yeah.
all the students kind of thought it's like, oh, what a freak. What a freak.
Yeah, I did like that, you know, this was, you know, and I like that they kind of like what I'm trying to say is it's just like, you know, realistically, like I feel like I like how they portrayed how realistic it probably could have been to find someone like for people to easily figure out who Superman is.
Hmm.
Like, because, you know, he's doing these amazing things, like instantly pushing his school bus from sinking in the river as if it was nothing. And, you know, there's also like that scene where he like shoves these wood telephone poles through this jerk trucker's semi. And you know, and just like because on average stuff like that will not happen. And it's just and then you know there's talks about, you know, how a man just saved these people from burning to death in an oil rig and everything. And it's just like people can easily like I like how they made it to where it's easily able to
Traceable.
traceable, yeah, traceable to
Yeah.
figure out who that guy who is this guy and where did he come from.
Right. Which we had that character that did put those pieces together.
Lois
That
Lane, yeah.
Lois. Yes. Which to me, if we want to move into a little bit more of a like character development, um, I did not like the relationship between Lois and Kal-El.
Oh, really?
I did not feel like there was really that much chemistry between them. And I don't know if that's just if it's like that for everybody else that either reads the book or watches the film. I don't know how those they interacted on screen, but in the book it just kind of felt really awkward. It felt like she had an attraction for him, and he was just kind of like, "Hey, lady," and like all of it until the end. He's like, "Hey, it's me," when he shows up like, with a new job at the the Daily Planet. Um, I thought that was like the best part between them. She's like, I got to pretend to be somebody I'm not, or like I don't know him. I got to pretend I don't know him, and he's just like smiles and he's like, "Hey, you gonna show me around?" Whatever. But yeah, the father, the bond between his father, I thought that was good.
Which father, like Jonathan Kent or Jor-El?
Yes, Jor-El. I
Okay,
thought not Jor-El. Sorry,
Jonathan Kent.
Jonathan. Yes, that was good. It was sad that his last few moments with him, he was irritated with him, and he's like, "You're not my father," and he's like, "Ouch, that
Yeah.
hurts." And then he actually gets killed by a tornado of all things, which, as Oklahoma people, we could connect with that. um,
Well, that was different. That was actually different from the comics. Or like the traditional canon story is that Jonathan Kent normally always died from a heart attack.
ah,
But he always did give that life lesson that, always do the right thing. Um, but I can see why they changed it, to make it a little bit more personal, like, to where Clark would really get the lesson, like he's let his father sacrifice himself so that way he could remain hidden and,
right.
protect himself and his mother.
Yeah,
And
he easily could have saved him, but it even makes he makes eye contact with his father, and his dad's like, "No, now is not the time."
I will say though that scene in the film is actually pretty emotional.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, Henry Cavill or Cavill, I think Cavill, his acting on that scene was pretty good.
Okay.
But so we talked about what did you think about this novel as a whole? Like, what are your thoughts?
I I enjoyed parts of it. Um, was I a huge fan? No. I think that's just part of like the superhero. I hate hearing fatigue. Oh, superhero fatigue. But I guess that's kind of what it is. I mean, it's like once you see a couple or read a couple of these types of stories, you kind of feel like you've seen them all,
Hmm.
you heard them all. Um, and but Superman, he is that classic hero. Same with Batman. And it's funny that they're both the DC creations that are like the top tier. But um, I liked the early stuff, like I mentioned. The later stuff in the book, like it was basically a huge battle. And I'm not really the biggest fan of just action stories. They kind of get tiring for me.
Hmm.
And so like a huge chunk of this book is action. And it was easy to follow. That's that's for sure. It was easy to follow. Uh,
Hmm.
I enjoyed some of the mystery that we talked about with Kal-El. Like, oh, he's roaming around trying to find new jobs, and then the discovery of who he is by Lois Lane. I thought that was a little bit too quick. Um, some things jumped around a little bit too fast as well, which kind of not throw me off, but I thought could have slowed down a little bit. Pacing is a little bit fast paced. Um, One of the major issues that I did have with this is there were a ton of typos, and I don't think that that's the author's fault. Maybe the editors, somebody let that slide through, and it was just like simple things like "the" would be placed in before and after a word like twice, or it's not like misspellings everywhere. It was just certain grammar was off, and I think that could have been avoided if there were a couple more eyes on it. Because I know I've tried to write things in the past. I know it's easy to mistype something, but I think that was just an overlook by the editor. But I've noticed that happen actually a lot with Titan Books, the publisher. So I don't know if it's just a Titan book thing or what. So that was my only issue really with Man of Steel.
Okay. Honestly, I really enjoyed this novel. um, I it's not my I think the original 70s Superman is still my favorite, but I did like the film. Like I didn't have like any don't remember having a lot of issues with the film. I haven't seen it in a while. I might have to
Mhm.
rewatch it. But I did enjoy this novelization. Like I was I was just drawn into it. I just thought that it was I thought Greg, like I said, with the typos, like it may not be the author's fault, it might be the editor's, but I thought that Greg Cox did a pretty good job with this story.
Oh yeah.
I he It was an easy read, and like I read like 100 pages of this like in like a couple of hours, like in one night as we were, I was making my way to finish it to be able to record this episode. And I was just like realized like, wow, I just read 100 pages, like because like that, I was just drawn into it. So I thought it
Mhm.
was well written. I mean, but obviously, it's Superman, so this is like you can definitely tell this is like this is more like a film that needs to be seen. But the novelization, if it wasn't a film, this would have been a pretty decent story, in a
Right.
book for
Right.
Superman if it wasn't a film. And it would have been like a nice change of pace for the character. So yeah, I enjoyed it. And yeah.
Yeah, I thought Greg Cox did a great job with descriptions. The dialogue was great. Um, it's funny because, like you mentioned, with like, oh, you should see the Superman films. Uh, some of the stuff that stuck out to me, knowing like because I never saw the film, I saw trailers, and by the cover of the book, it has that blue tint. Everything's kind of gray and blue, and there's descriptions in here about Superman being like a real, bright blue, bright red cape, and I'm thinking like that sounds different than the film because I know that from the images that I've seen, everything's real blue or gray and kind of grim, gives that darker vibe or whatever. But I think the descriptions that Greg Cox gave us in the book were fantastic,
Hmm.
um, and like a lot of fun with the lore of Superman, like with his family. I want to know more about that stuff now, though. After reading this, um, this is actually really my first real exposure to Superman because I never really read anything about him in the past. Um, I saw the original movie once, long time ago. And of course, we have the soundtrack by
John
John
Williams.
Williams, and I don't think, and the new soundtrack for this one, I believe, was uh, I know his name,
Hans
so
Zimmer.
Hans Zimmer, yes, and I thought that one was kind of actually dull. I do have it. I do have the soundtrack. I'm obsessed with soundtracks because I think his main theme was just like two notes playing. I was like, wait, what? Um, but I kept like when I was reading certain parts of this, I was John Williams music was playing in my head, like the theme, which was pretty cool. Uh, I think there was one other thing that I wanted to say about the novel. I can't think of what it was now. So I might just not talk about it because I don't remember.
Well, I was gonna say there were a couple of things that I knew were not in the film, unless they were deleted scenes. I haven't seen like the deleted scenes of this movie yet, but there was like this scene where at the beginning when they took a little bit the baby Clark Kent to the hospital, and I did like that scene because that wasn't in the film. At least I don't remember it was, and they kind of they kind of explain something that I never actually questioned before. Greg Cox explained something I never questioned before when it came to Superman. Like, what was it like taking him to the doctor growing up? And they explained that. I mean, like the guy that has impenetrable skin, like he could never get a shot, and
Yeah.
it's just like they explained that they never took him to the same doctor like twice and everything. Like they had to
Hmm.
keep going like different places to take him to a different doctor. And I thought that that was kind of interesting. I'm like, I'm like surprised, like that no one's caught on, like it's like, hey, and like, or did they like also did they like fabricate his medical records or something? They may have had
Like,
to.
yeah, that's a good point. It's funny. It's funny that when Kal-El goes into the barn, there's like UFO newspaper clippings and stuff all over the wall. I thought that was a neat little touch.
hmm It was actually what I thought was also a little bit different was Jonathan Kent. You said that he's always wanting to do the right thing, but there was also one thing that was a little bit different. Like in the original film, the 1978 film, like, it was always like, do the right thing. But in this one, Clark, says, what was I supposed to do? Just let those kids die on the bus and then Clark was just like, well, maybe. I'm like, that's really dark, you know. Um, and because I remember seeing that in the trailer like years ago, I'm just like, whoa, like they went there because
Yeah.
I will say this seemed less dark than the film was because it was definitely a different tonal approach to Superman. Like, because like when you think Superman, you think like all happy and exciting and like John Williams music playing. But
Mhm.
this one, it was dark and there was a
We're
lot more
serious.
death and
Yeah.
destruction and everything. But the film actually did like tackle like when Superman gets into a fight with beings like this, it's destructive.
Hmm.
Like
Yeah.
it's not like it's all taking place up in the sky and no one gets hurt. Like no, buildings are destroyed, cities demolished,
Yeah.
and I thought Greg Cox did a good job describing the action scenes. Like they were I unless I'm like I said, I haven't seen the film in a long time, so I do remember them. I'm sure they had to be for the novelization a little bit toned down space wise because but like I said, I haven't seen the film in a while, so I might go back and watch it to see if I remember. Like, oh yeah, he explained that part in the book or something like that. Um,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. I enjoyed that how he sensed other people, like he heard their heartbeats and he learned how to control hearing all the noises. Apparently, his power, he could hear everything, everybody's heartbeats. He like in school, he freaks out because he could see like his teacher's like bones, like X-ray vision, and
mhm.
he's like scared out of his mind, and he hears everybody talking. He runs and hides in a closet. And he's just scared, and his mom has to like come help get him out. Um, it's a cool thing when he's fighting Zod. He like breaks his helmet off, and then Zod
Yeah,
experiences that whole thing, and he's like, "What did you do to me?" He like broke his head, like his brain just fried there for a second. He's freaking out. Then
yeah, and
he
oh, go ahead.
I was thinking then he kind of I guess learns how to control that. So he learned pretty quick too.
Yeah, and I felt bad for after like reading that scene and reading something that happened later that Martha Kent talked about that when they found Superman, he was a baby and he had trouble breathing because he was adapting to this world.
Hmm.
And I was just like, wow, like Superman had to go through that as a baby.
Yeah.
Like, and I mean, sure, he's an indestructible baby, but still, that must have been really rough and everything. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, um, there's something else that you said that I tried the one to kind of go on, but
Anything to do with Zod? Did you like the villain
I
in this
did.
story?
I did. I also like the actor that played him in the movie, but what I did like is that there's this he's completely in the wrong, but you can tell that this is his passion, like he's a patriot to Krypton.
Hmm.
He wants his people to thrive, to survive, to prosper, and but that means killing another race. I
Hmm.
mean, like because they were trying to terraform the earth, to make it like Krypton, and and Dr. Emil Hamilton, said that that would kill a human, like their internal organs would implode under the pressure, instantly killing them. And it's just, and that scene itself was dark too in the film, like when they were describing like what Zod wanted to do, and like it showed Superman standing over millions of skeletal corpses and everything, and that's for a Superman story that's pretty dark. But
Yeah.
I mean, at least what I'm used to. But um, but it's just like I like that scene where Superman won the what was the name of the spaceship? I can't remember.
I know what you're talking about.
The
They
name
did have a name for it.
yeah.
I should have taken notes.
Well, that spaceship with the that they were going to use to help terraform the planet, like Superman destroys it, and then you just see like Zod, like abhorred. He's completely lost his purpose and that's a purpose that's not necessarily that was not his choice. Like he was forced to have that purpose, to thrive for his people and everything. And he tries to explain that, like, I did everything to help Krypton, but like, yeah, but you almost killed a lot of people. So I mean,
yeah, he was dark.
Yeah, and what even gets worse is that Superman has always been, like kind of like Batman, he avoids killing. And that scene where he just like snapped Zod neck.
Yeah, he didn't want to.
Yeah, he didn't want to, but I mean that was the only way that he could keep him from killing humans. And
yeah,
I mean, and even that scene in the film was very emotional because you get that sense, and I think it touched a little bit on it in the novel, that Clark Kent's now, or Kal-El's now officially the last Kryptonian, like as they often refer to him as the last son of Krypton, and like now he's truly alone because he just killed the last of his people. But he did it, and I mean he did it for the right reasons. And I thought that like I said, I thought Cox did a good job touching on that.
Yeah. See, the sun is what gave Kal-El his power, right? He absorbed the sun to become to have all the super strength, right?
Yeah,
that was mentioned. But I'm a little confused on what makes the Krypton people, like, were they that strong outside of Earth, like on Krypton, or were they just like normal people? Because it feels like Zod knew that he was always more powerful.
I think they touched on it a little bit. Like, you see, in the comics, Superman, like you said, he's powered by Earth's sun, and Zod said that Earth's sun is younger and it's stronger. But the Kryptonian sun was, it was old. It was had less energy, and but see, on Krypton, they're like normal humans because their sun is red.
Okay.
And then when they come to Earth, it's the yellow sun, and so that's what gives Krypton, a Kryptonian, his strength on Earth. And like, there's been many times in TV shows or comics where the sun, like what Superman was exposed to red solar energy, and it dampens his powers. It's like he can't even use them. So
okay. Yeah, I did like the connection between Zod and Kal-El. Having, his father was his friend, but he betrayed him, and then he has to betray Kal-El. So it was like the tragedy part of it. I don't think that I really liked the. Well, man, I don't remember what I was going to say. There was something that I didn't like, and now it escaped me for the second time.
Oh, the machine. It was called the World Engine.
The World Engine. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Which that sounded really cool, by the way. The World Engine. I would like it. That would be a cool visual to see that thing in working condition. So the thing that I didn't like, this is what it was. I did not like the computerized version of Jor-El. I thought that was a little bit of a silly touch.
Yeah, they were doing something different. In the original Superman, it was a holograph. It was like a holographic type projection, like with Marlon Brando as playing Jor-El in the original. Like he had these crystals, and he inserted them into these little glass-like slots, kind of like that little device that they had to you remember from the story that Man of Steel, they had that little had that like little chip thing that was from his ship.
Yeah.
It was kind of something similar to that, but it was a crystal, and like a Superman would, use that to, like, in his little ice fortress, that would bring, Jor-El, his father out, and but it wasn't like digitized. It was like a holographic projection type thing. But yeah, that was a little different, and
because it seemed like he still has a consciousness, like he's able to know things. And he's like a time where he even says Lois's name, like he's telling her what to do, and it's like, how would the computer version of him know what to do? You know what I mean? But I guess it's just the AI was so advanced for those people. I mean, they even had weird creatures over on Krypton that sounded really cool that were flying around.
Yeah,
that they were riding on. So, it's just alien stuff, technology. It's always better than ours.
Gosh, Star Wars,
yeah.
But yeah, like I said, I enjoyed the novelization. I enjoyed reading it, and I was worried that I wouldn't, but I did.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, this is, with Superman, you're more used to him in the comic books or in the films or the video games or the TV shows. But it's just reading a Superman novel was, I enjoyed it. It was a nice change of pace, and I don't think I've ever actually read a Superman novel before. I mean, I have some, but I have not read them yet. And it was a little different because, like I said, I'm more used to comic books, but it was a nice change of pace.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I never saw it. I'm glad that I know what the story is now because I've always wanted to see it. I just never, there's some of those things that just escape you and you never get around to it. And Man of Steel is one of those. I remember seeing the previews for it back when it was coming out. Like, oh, I want to see that. That looks awesome. Just never did. But yeah, I'm glad you picked this one and then we got to read it. It's different. I can't remember if we read a Marvel. We read a Spider-Man book on here, which that was fun too. But it's cool. I like the alien aspect of it.
I do too.
It makes them stand out a little bit.
I like that. There was a couple of things, like I said, there was one of these might be weird, but there was things that I noticed that were different from the film. One of which was, when we got that scene where, they're at the hospital and Clark Kent was just a baby. There's also the bar scene where, this guy is, putting the moves on this a waitress, and he starts to get a little handsy, and Clark Kent just tries to do the right thing and intervene, but that guy just he gets up, acting all big and tough, and he throws a beer in Clark's face, and there's what's different about that is in the film, like the waitress just says he's not worth it, and it looks like Clark just quits, like he just quits and just throws his apron down. But in the novel, he was actually fired, like, because the owner of the bar actually said, "Oh," like very casually, "Oh, hey, yeah, you're fired." And I'm just like,
yeah. It was a bit weird.
Yeah, it was kind of funny though from the film. Like that guy did try to like shove Clark, and like he just realized like, oh wow, this guy didn't even flinch. And I'm like, which realistically, I think like I've seen people try to punch Superman and their hands like broken. I feel like that guy's arms would have been broken just trying to push him, But
yeah.
And there was one else. Oh, this is the weird one, but I did notice like in the novelization, like after Superman or Clark saved those men from burning in that oil rig out in the ocean, it said that he woke up in the ocean and he was naked. But in the movie, he was actually not naked. He was wearing pants, but they were kind of like charred up. And I just thought like, and it talked about how Clark was just like, oh man, just like, I don't want to steal these guys' clothes, but I'm naked. So,
Yeah, he went and stole them off of some clothesline, didn't he? Like someone's work clothes.
Yeah, that was actually kind of a fun little. I kind of felt like that was like a reference to. I don't know if like the '70s Incredible Hulk series, like every time the Hulk would turn back into Banner, like he'd always go to like a clothesline or like a guy's laundry line, and take the clothes off there and like leave like a $5 bill or something like that to at least pay for the clothes. And I thought that was kind of like a nice little. Uh, it felt like that was like an Easter egg, but I know it's like
Yeah.
that's two different comic book
Yeah.
lines. But
Franchises. It makes more sense for him to wake up without any clothes on because they would all be burnt off. Because I remember it's saying he's walking through fiery buildings, and fire's pretty hot. So yeah,
mhm.
I'm sure it would have just burned everything up. And it was cool because then the whales kind of help him out, or he heard them coming. Remember him like
Yeah,
hearing them?
yeah.
That was a neat little thing too.
Oh yeah. I just saw this. Like we're doing this live, and I saw in our chat that there was actually the film. What was also different is that I don't remember there being Easter eggs to other characters in this novelization. Like, because I saw someone in the chat reference something about Rob D mentioned Aquaman. Like, because I remember in the film there's a reference to like Lex Luthor. There's a reference to Batman, and I just thought but this film, I don't remember, or this novelization,
No.
I don't remember any Easter egg at all, unless I just missed it. But
Yeah,
or
because
if it was
at
just like,
this time, sorry, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
I was thinking at this time, did DC even know that they were going to start doing the franchise thing, or was that like, you know what, let's go ahead and make more of these, and then eventually like try to work things into it?
I'm assuming they were. Because there's always like there's always the plan to want to make a series of these films, but they want to see how like that one movie that starts it does.
It
Like
kicks it off.
like with the MCU, there's like they did Iron Man, and where all that led to.
Yeah.
So I mean, we still have some of these movies, like they just released the Snyder cut of Justice League, which I enjoyed, but I'll stick to the novelization. Man of Steel.
It's a shame they didn't do the novelizations to the other movies in this world.
They did, but it's
They
Wonder
did?
Woman. Yeah, they did one for Wonder Woman
That's right. They did Wonder Woman and Suicide Squad,
and Suicide Squad. Yes, and I have both of those.
but they didn't do Batman versus Superman, Justice League. Isn't there another?
There's the new Suicide Squad one, and there's Aquaman.
Aquaman.
I would have actually. I thought it'd be kind of nice to have like Aquaman and Batman v Superman novelizations, and I have the Suicide Squad one, but that one, the novelization, it's never been touched. Like there's no
handprints on it.
There's no evidence that this book has been read ever, and but so next question is, would you recommend this novelization?
If you haven't seen the film, because I'm saying this as somebody who hasn't seen it, I would say yes. If you're wanting that superhero story, even just an like alien story, even this would be a good one to read. Yeah, I enjoyed it. Like I said, after reading it, I would like to have read a Batman versus Superman Justice League to see how the world continued on after this one, because it does kind of leave as not really a cliffhanger, but it's just like, oh, he's still out there. He's watching, because he even like smashes a big satellite and faces off with one of the military guys. He says, "Stop trying to find me. I'm here to help you.
Yeah.
So let me do my own thing."
Yeah. I would have liked to see a novelization of Batman v Superman 2, the Ultimate Edition. The theatrical cut was a little weird, and also with the novelization to the Justice League, based on how well that film turned out, if they had a novelization to the Joss Whedon Justice League, I felt like that review for that would have been similar to your review of the 2016 Ghostbusters novelization. Like the Snyder Cut would have loved a novelization for that. It was a 4-hour long movie, so the novelization probably would have been like huge.
Like
but that would have been a great novelization to have. But I do recommend the Man of Steel novelization. Now, if you're wanting like Superman action, like, you know, fight scenes and everything, then probably just stick with the film. But like I said, we mostly just discuss like what all like new things that the novelization adds, like new scenes and everything. But it's an easy read, and I did enjoy it. And
what rating would you give it? Go ahead and say that first before you give your rating.
Well, I was wanting to say there was also like, again, like it was mentioned in the chat. I liked the there's a scene, like I do like the cover. I mean, there's another film, a poster of the Man of Steel that I would have liked to see for the novelization, but I do like that they went with this one because I do like this scene where he allows the military to handcuff him. Like he's walking through that hall, he's just got handcuffs, and everybody who knows Superman knows that there's just like, yeah, he's just being nice.
Yeah, he even said that. He's like, this is for your comfort.
Yeah, like, and I mean, they kind of did something like that too with like the new Spider-Man No Way Home trailer. Like he's handcuffed to a table. I'm just like, yeah, Spider-Man or Superman, they would have just been able to, you know,
yeah,
simple as that. And, you know, and I like that, you know, he's very humble on, he's willing to accept the responsibility. He's willing to surrender. And he even says, I'm surrendering to mankind because he wants to help mankind. He's truly like, you know, that there's the stereotypical phrase that an alien says, like, I come in peace. And like, you know, you get that vibe with Superman. And I did like, and there's even that scene, like, you know, just like, yeah, okay, guys, like, you think you control me? And like, he just goes, psh! And the film, he just like immediately just breaks off those handcuffs like it's nothing. But I did like that, you know, he's willing to let, you know, them know that they are secure, they're in a safe space, and he's not a threat. And I did like that scene. So
yeah. You know, something that I mentioned.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Something I mentioned earlier is about the color palette. Like in the book, he keeps saying, the bright red cape, the bright blue suit. And it's like the film is just that dark hue over it. And like on the back, though, you get that bright yellow and red colors, which is pretty neat. Nice little touch on the novelization there.
Yeah. I can't remember it. Like I said, I finished this book last week, and they said that I like in the film. I know that they addressed it, like the logo, like Superman's logo. Like he says, it's not an S. It's that's another thing that's different. I'm sorry, I'm kind of sidetracking here. Like when Lotus says, "What does the S stand for?" and he's like, "Oh, it's not an S. On my world, it means hope." And you know the symbol actually in the comics means the House of El, like that's his family crest. But he says like, well, how about Superman? That was a little bit different because in the film she was cut off before she could even say Superman. But I did like that they added that, and then Greg Cox added that in the novelization because like it would make more sense that Lois gave him the name Superman, and because in the film it was just like she's like, how about we call you, and then you know she's cut off from
like a comedic type thing or something.
Yeah, and then it's just later like there's a scene like, oh, they got Superman in tow, and then the guy's like, who's Superman? It's like, oh, it's the alien. That's what they're calling him now. It's like, I like that scene in the novelization. That actually made more sense for him to say, how about we call you Superman? You know, but it's just like it felt like in the film they were just trying to like hold it off for, like you said, comedic time. And just like, come on, like we know who he is. We know that's Superman. Just say it. You know.
Yeah.
You know.
It is like if you really think about these things, they are a little goofy though. You know, like, oh, he gets hit with a missile. Nothing. He gets punched in the face by another Kryptonian. Ow! It's like, okay. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's just when you really think about it, it's kind of goofy, but it was fun. Yeah, I enjoyed it. What do you give it as a rating?
I give it an A. It was good.
A?
I recommend it.
I'm going to give it a B-.
B minus. Okay.
Just because, I'm not the biggest fan of like a lot of action in my books. The typos, that bothered me quite a bit. I tried to look past it, but I was like, Titan books, stop this. They did it in another Titan book that we read recently, or I read recently, and it just kind of drives me crazy. But overall, it was good. B minus.
I enjoyed it. A. But yeah, I forgot to mention this at the beginning of the episode. This, the reason why I chose this novelization for August. This is actually, I'm dedicating this episode to my oldest brother, who is the biggest fan of Superman that I've ever met in my life. And like Superman, he's a great guy. Always wants to do the right thing, do right by people. So, and it's my brother's birthday this month. So, to my brother, just want to say happy birthday, and this episode's for you. So,
well, happy birthday, Mr. Bryant. And he's probably going to hate me for giving it a B minus.
No.
Same with Greg Cox if he sees this.
As long as you didn't say like Superman sucked or something like that.
Oh, yeah, no. It was all good. It was good fun.
Yeah. But yeah, that's going to do it for this episode. We had to do it a little different. Normally we record these episodes, but this is a live stream. And so to all those joining us in the chat, thank you for checking this episode out. We hope that you enjoyed it. A couple of things that we're going to announce. I think we've already announced them in the previous episode for Rambo. It was First Blood Part 2. But we're going to be working on doing audio exclusive single cut podcast that can be found on our where we post our podcasts, and that's just going to be one of us hosts. So we're going to be picking our own novelization, reading it, and just doing like a maybe at least 10-minute podcasts, and posting them like on Spotify or where we all.
It goes. We've got Jeremy, who was in control of like the podcasting of it, set us up an Anchor account.
Yes.
So all the podcasts are being uploaded to Anchor, which are being distributed to wherever you get your podcasts. Mostly, I think everywhere you can get them, it'll show up. So you get your Google, Apple, wherever, Spotify, it'll be there. So
I was gonna post mine this month, but just a couple of things came up, and I didn't get time to do it. But I'm hoping to try to get it done next month. But I think Jeremy is going to post one soon. But my one will be the novelization to Daredevil. That was like this novelization, also written by Greg Cox. So I'll be recording that soon, and we'll be getting that out. And as always, like, stay tuned to our Facebook page, and we'll be posting updates when those are available for you guys to check out. But also tune in for next month. Next month is Jeremy's pick. We're going to be doing the novelization to another John Gardner 007 novelization, License to Kill, the Timothy Dalton film, which I have not seen this film in a while. I might watch it and then read it, or so yeah, the next month will be the License to Kill novelization discussion,
which I may not be a part of, just a heads up. So
right,
I'm going to try to follow along, but I've got so much other things that I need to do, get caught up on some stuff.
Seems like each of us hosts took like one break this summer. Like I took a break last month. Jeremy took a break this month. You're going to be taking a break next month. But
yeah.
But we do have some fun plans for this coming fall for discussions and everything. So like nothing's like officially posted yet. So but just stay tuned to our Facebook page as we make these announcements and everything. So.
Cool.
But again, guys, thank you all so much. Be sure to go check out, if you're new, be sure to go check out our Paper Movies and Novelization Book Club YouTube channel. Please subscribe if you'd like to stay updated for more novelization discussions. Also go to our Facebook page, and if you collect novelizations, feel free to show your collection.
Oh yeah, you post your videos there if you want to shoot your bookshelf. Say, look what I got. That'd be great. what's really cool is there are some authors of novelizations over in the Facebook group, which is really cool because they do have conversations with folks in that group, which is really neat. So, and next year, we're approaching the end of the year pretty soon. There are going to be some changes to paper movies, not anything like too major, but things are always evolving around here, which is fun. Yeah, I'm excited to see what we're doing from here. So,
yeah. And as always, check out our YouTube channels. Check Matthew out at The Geeks Attic, also his Star Wars podcast, The Tuscan Reader.
Thank you.
Jeremy at Stupid Chainsaw Productions. He also posts his podcasts, his other podcasts that he has with Noah from Quality Autism, the Live and Let's Discuss, and King of Our Nightmares. And you can find me at Bryant VRM. That's my nerdy pop culture channel. And I also started a new one recently, if you guys haven't heard. It's a Star Wars channel, Star Wars exclusive channel. I talk only Star Wars books, movies, comics, reviews, discussions, and it's called Red 5 Reviews, which thank you to Matthew for helping me come up with that title, because I was struggling, because I wanted to make a channel and I was struggling with the title. And he says, how about Red 5 Reviews? Like, that's perfect.
Perfect.
So yeah, you can, we'll post links to our channels in the description after this video posts. Yeah. So guys, thank you all so much. And we will see you on our next discussion for License to Kill.
Bye.
Bye.